Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Vice Admiral, Congressman, and our friend, Judge Sestak.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan. Thanks for the kind introduction. And Mayor, it's great to be back here with you all. I had a very delightful time when it came through months ago. And out of that, I received an invitation to speak here today from Charlie Kuhn. And he sent me a list of everyone who had spoken here over the decades since the battle here at Gettysburg. Presidents, senators, and I paused. I didn't know why Charlie had really invited me to be this year's speaker. When I looked at that list, I didn't know whether he wanted to demonstrate to everybody in Gettysburg that, yeah, Charlie really does have a sense of humor. And, as Dan mentioned, I ran for the Senate and I didn't win. So I then thought, perhaps what he's doing is trying to show his own sense of post-Civil War reconciliation for a defeated warrior, although in a different type of war campaign. But whatever the reason, I am very particularly appreciative of the tour that he gave to me yesterday with my wife, Susan, and my daughter, Alex, throughout Gettysburg's battlefield, because it brought it all back home again to me about where our American exceptionalism comes from. It did begin 220 years ago, when our founding fathers gave birth to an extraordinary new idea. And they ratified the Constitution at Philadelphia's Independence Hall, which began with three simple words: we the people. But it was here, at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, that the true meaning of those three words took shape as actual deeds. Deeds so irrevocable that the Union's Commander-in-Chief, Abraham Lincoln, was moved to declare that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. That is why it was following the Civil War that America established its very first day of memory ever in our land to honor that war's soldiers, individual, uncommon Americans who came together for the common good, to many of whom, in President Lincoln's words, gave their last full measure of devotion to ensure that the principles held by our nation do not perish from the earth. The father of our country, George Washington, had first given voice to those principles of American exceptionalism when he established the first award in our new American Army, a piece of purple cloth, which is now today's Purple Heart. He directed that this very first military commendation would be awarded only to an enlisted man, not an officer, because he wanted to demonstrate that in our new military, just like in our new American society, the way to the top was open to everyone from all walks of life, not just the gentry, unlike the British Army, where the aristocracy inherited the officer commissions, where the wealthy purchased theirs. Buster Kilrain, that crusty Union sergeant from Ireland, said it best in Killer Angels. When you seen them hang, men the way I have seen them, back in the old country, what matters is justice, which is why I'm here. I'll be treated as I deserve, for there's only one aristocracy, and that's right here. And that, he said, is why we've got to win this war. I came to understand this during my 31 years in the United States Navy, as I saw about why many around the world respect us for the might of our military, for the size of our economy. What they truly admire us for is the power of our ideals. I will always recall pulling into Egypt in command of my first ship, and a number of Egyptian naval officers got underway with us. When we returned to port, one of them said to me, "Captain, you treat the enlisted men as though they are equal to you." I responded that they certainly respected rank. He replied, "That's not what I mean. You treat them as though they are equal human beings. We don't." We Americans cherish our individual rights, which is why you came to this battlefield today, to honor those that with their lives preserve those rights, and why 10,000 freed black slaves also gathered on May 1st, 1865. That was the first Memorial Day in our land to commemorate 257 Union soldiers who had died during captivity as prisoners of war at the Confederate Charlestown racecourse in South Carolina. These freed men came first to landscape and decorate the burial grounds, and then 10,000 strong to honor their fellow Americans who died in shackles so that the shackles of their own slavery might be removed. These soldiers died for a principle our nation was founded upon: justice for the individual citizen. For as Sergeant Kilrain explained in why he emigrated to our land, we have a country where the past cannot keep men in chains. And while one of the two pillars of our American exceptionalism is rooted in this unique belief in an individual's equal rights, its second pillar is grounded upon something similarly extraordinary: sacrificing for the common good. It can best be exemplified by what General John Buford stressed on that first day of Gettysburg: the importance of holding the high ground in the upcoming battle. Or, as he warned, there will be the devil to pay. I always felt that the meaning of his words were not only about Gettysburg, but also held a warning about what it would take for our nation's exceptionalism to endure. Our forefathers had made our country the world's high ground by the very words, "We the people," ensuring that ours was the first nation founded on principle, not power. Our long struggle to embody their vision, from freedom to suffrage, civil rights to equality, cannot succeed until they are extended to all. Our American exceptionalism, our high ground, was built upon the novel idea of an individual's equal rights to be treated as we each deserve. But this ground, this high ground, is only secured by our coming together, whenever challenged, whenever needed. And not just overseas, but also right here at home, in our civil strifes, even today. That is why it was the Civil War that gave birth to our American Memorial Day, because its deeds gave painful shape to the reality of how only by our coming together within our nation can we hold the high ground that we can endure. It is why today, a day of memory for those President Lincoln resolved shall not have died in vain, is also a moment of reflection upon his immortal tasking to future generations that it is for us, the living, to be dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far nobly advanced. Or else there will be the devil to pay. It was the uncommon courage of the individual soldiers in holding the high ground here at Cemetery Ridge that gave shape to the second unique pillar of our American exceptionalism, sacrificing for the common good to hold on to the high ground, vividly seen by the deeds of the 1st Minnesota Volunteer Infantry, among so many others, sent into that breaking Union line to plug its opening hole. 215 of the 262 men did not come out. The highest percentage of battlefield casualties by any regiment, North or South. These individual citizen soldiers came together and gave their last full measure of devotion in a cause they felt was greater than themselves, which was that America would not perish from the earth. And by giving shape to the words, "we the people," by their deeds together, they came to fully define for us our American exceptionalism, an alliance between their rugged individualism and our common mission, bound together by our citizens' belief that their individual achievement can never be measured apart from the greater effort, the common good. It was therefore the Civil War, and notably the Battle of Gettysburg, that gave full voice to our American legacy, our American exceptionalism. As Abraham Lincoln said, "The world will little know, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here." I was fortunate, so very fortunate, to have lived with part of that legacy in my 31 years of naval service. I'll never forget the new female pilot that I launched with 7 male veterans as our carrier battle group arrived off Afghanistan. She proved to be the one who disobeyed orders that night not to dive below 20,000 feet until we had an opportunity to first ensure that there were no endangering anti-aircraft missiles present. Ambushed, surrounded with 4 dead, the remaining U.S. Special Force officers requested that any aircraft, strafe the advancing Taliban immediately so they might slip away under the cover of its fire. Believing she could not wait precious seconds, by requesting permission, she dove and strafed, and the soldiers got out, carrying their dead. Women were not on ships, never mind flying combat aircraft off our carriers when I joined during the Vietnam era. But because she, like so many individual Americans, was finally given a fair opportunity to be all she could be, the common mission for America succeeded so much better that night, and 4 men came home alive. Given the opportunity for an individual American dream, she was willing to risk her life, certainly her career, as she pursued it in the service of others for the common mission. And yet, as our eyes take in this and other national cemeteries today, and think of the youth that lie under thousands of their headstones, it is obvious how much America and its families have given to our nation. For those who may wonder at times, is it worth it? As I did after the loss of one of my pilots, I can only recount the story behind the first ship I commanded, the Samuel B. Roberts. Its namesake had fought in the Pacific during World War II at the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Fighting nearby was another ship upon which my father served. As the first Sammy B. Roberts was sinking, the captain gave the order, "Abandon ship." He then sent the executive officer to quickly scour the small ship to ensure everyone was safely off. At the after gun mount, the executive officer found Gunner Carr. Everyone here knows someone like Gunner Carr. Just a good guy. Seniors, juniors, and peers alike loved being around him. Gunner Carr's gun mount had been destroyed. He was dazed, one leg almost torn off, and was cradling a gun shell in his arms as he tried to get up on his one good leg to keep on fighting. The executive officer took the shell out of the young man's arms, laid it on the deck, and left to get help. When he returned with the other men, they found that Gunner Carr had crawled over, picked up that shell, and was again trying to get up onto his one leg to keep on fighting. The men again took the shell out of the gunner's arms, placed the young sailor onto a stretcher, got him on the bridge and onto a lifeboat, where he soon died. But the captain, in writing his battle report and of the loss of his ship, wrote the words that then became our motto on another Samuel B. Roberts half a century later: that it was no higher honor than to have served with a man such as that. There is no higher honor than to be an American. We are exceptional because of the principles we have, seen in our youth, like Gunner Carr, the young woman pilot, and every man who fought here at Gettysburg. They each came together for those principles and for each other, for us, we the people. They held our high ground here at Gettysburg. We can do no less. We are not all soldiers, nor do we need to be in this fight. We merely must remember what brought them to the rest here on this hallowed ground, something so special that its bond stands the test of time. It is captured in a final story of two sailors who had voyaged to another land centuries ago, where one was then arrested as a spy. Sentenced to hang, the young man asked the judge if he might see his country one last time, hug his family goodbye, and then return to be hung. Denied, his friend then asked if he might be placed in jail, awaiting the other's return to be hung if he did not, to which the judge agreed. The other sailor went home to his land, said goodbye to his family, and set sail with time to spare. But there was a storm at sea that delayed his return. Fearful that he was too late, he ran down the gangplank as the ship entered port and into the square where the scaffolding had been constructed, and saw that they were just about to hang his friend. The sailor called out, "Wait, I am the one to be hung." But his friend called back to him, "No, you are too late. I'm the one to be hung." And the two friends began to argue, each for himself to be hung, until the king overheard them and demanded that they both be brought to him. He listened to both their arguments, each insistent on why they should be the one hung, until the king finally said, "Stop. I will forgive you both under one condition, that you two make me your third friend. That's what I felt again yesterday as I toured this battlefield with Charlie, Susan, and Alex. These men are our timeless third friend. And by their selfless deeds showed America, including me, what I must show my daughter. If we, the people, are to long endure. We are rugged individuals in a land of opportunity, but also a country that is grounded on the conviction that we can do no better for ourselves than by serving others above ourselves. How could that woman pilot possibly weigh her own career or life against what is best for our country and the lives of our men and women after Gettysburg's deeds? And she didn't. Nor can we now fail to imbue our own daughters and sons with our American exceptionalism. For ours is a nation built on service to others. I think that's what motivates us as Americans, and what Memorial Day is all about. Or why else would we come here to remember those that died doing just that? Thank you very much.